several signs of the presence of a curse. But I don't want you to dwell too much on this so you don't get scared, okay? Because some people might get stressed or frightened. There need to be several of these signs in your life for there to truly be a curse, right? But with some people, it is present. Now, the first sign is mental or emotional breakdowns. What is faith? Faith is stability. Faith is stability because you are standing on a solid rock that does not move. These breakdowns point to something else. A whole range of doubts, fears, worries, and anxieties. So when such breakdowns occur in your life, it may be a sign that there are these invisible walls, barriers you cannot see but that still hold you back, present in your daily experiences. Second, if you find yourself suffering from chronic illnesses or facing recurring diseases that seem to return again and again despite your efforts, this too can be an indication of these hidden obstacles. Well, everyone gets sick, right? But here we're talking about something different, especially if these illnesses are hereditary. Third, infertility or a tendency toward premature birth and similar female issues, miscarriages, one, another, a third, a fourth, or constant problems with the menstrual cycle. Number 4, breakdowns in marriage or family, alienation. Every family has problems. Every church has problems. The problem is not the problems themselves. The problem is that when there are problems, they need to be resolved. And we need to tune ourselves to that mindset. But there are people who are stuck in such a cycle. They just go through the same thing every time. Another issue is constant financial insufficiency or persistent poverty. I'm talking about persistent poverty. Anyone can go through, especially in a country like Bulgaria, right? Periods of poverty and lack. But when this is constant, and especially when it runs in the family, something is not right. There is some kind of blockage somewhere. I've even seen people who earn a lot of money and are constantly in debt. It's as if someone takes the money and it just disappears. As soon as we get the money, something happens. The car breaks down, this or that comes up, and the money is gone. Someone got sick and they're leaving. The thief comes to steal, to kill, to destroy. So somewhere there is an open door. Number 6, a tendency toward accidents and mishaps. Sometimes people call me and say, well, my son has had 3 or 4 car accidents, or he's broken his leg 3 or 4 times. Something keeps happening. There may be a spiritual reason, not just a physical one. And when that spiritual cause is removed, your life can change. God has a solution for these things. Number 7, a series of suicides or unfortunate, unnatural, and untimely deaths, premature death. There are families where, for example, the men die at a certain age, or people die from cancer, one after another, and so on. Or suicides, as was mentioned here. If you have ever thought about committing suicide, wanted to, or planned something like that, you should know that this is not something normal or natural. A person cannot commit murder or suicide on their own because the devil is the murderer of men. So whenever it comes to the killing of a person, I'm not talking about slaughtering a chicken, for example. That's not what this is about. We're talking about a person. There is a difference between killing a person and killing an animal. When it comes to a person, the devil is always involved because he is the murderer of men. Just the fact that such a thought comes to you, you need to know that it's from the devil. It might seem very justified. It doesn't matter at all. He is a liar, a thief, a murderer, a destroyer, and ultimately an accuser. Here I've added something else, a series of defeats. Defeat is a sign. Failure. Defeat. God did not create us for failures and defeats. As the word says, to be the tail and not the head. Do you remember what chapter 28 says about blessings? I will make you the head and not the tail. What is the difference between the head and the tail? The head leads, the tail follows. God wants his people to be leaders. He wants you to be people who lead society toward good. To be above, not beneath. Look, being beneath is simply not God's will or constant humiliation. There are women who, wherever they go, someone always ends up abusing them. They become victims. It's as if they attract it, and such women have simply gotten used to the idea that they will be victims, perpetual victims. It's almost as if they have a sign on their forehead that clearly says, "Come and abuse me." And maybe, just maybe, they really do have such a sign, but only in the invisible world. Because there are things we can't see. Rejection, abandonment. There are people who are constantly rejected and abandoned. This can also be an indicator, including the feeling of rejection and abandonment. I have seen that there are people who feel rejected even though there is no such thing. It's simply their perception. There is also that aspect. There are people who perceive themselves as rejected, but in reality they are not. But when you behave this way, at some point you really might get rejected. Because if someone keeps telling you, "You're rejecting me, you're rejecting me," in the end you end up rejecting everyone. Isolation. For example, how can a pack of wolves catch a deer? By isolating it from the herd, surrounding it, and then eating it. As long as it's in the herd, it's protected. So communication is very important. We humans are social beings. We shouldn't isolate ourselves.